I wasn't super sure on this, but you're coming out with a new album, demo, EP. What is the correct terminology of what's happening here?
Nice. I'm guessing that the first thing we'll probably be coming out with is like a single, then after
Okay,
that an EP, then after that an album. It just kind of depends on um how everything goes in the like recording process, mixing process, and just kind of like art whatever artistic choice we make to come out with first, whatever makes sense. So
gotcha,
all of those things
gotcha.
are valid. It just depends on what happens.
Yeah, just because I've seen that, you've been like releasing the demos of your songs as you're coming out with them, and you have how many right now?
Right now we have 4 demos out, but there's like we easily have an album worth of music like written.
That's
It's just
awesome.
all not recorded and all that stuff yet, but we've got quite a lot of stuff.
Well, okay. Considering that, I guess my first question is still relevant. So I just kind of wanted to ask, like, what part of your life or like what inspiration are you drawing from for your first album?
Nice. I mean, it has evolved over time. We've been working on original music for a couple years now. So, just as things of my life, just as things in my life have changed, the lyrical and even like musical like content has also changed.
Hmm.
Like I find myself going back and looking at some lyrics I wrote a while ago and being like, "Ooh, who is she?" Like, um,
Don't
but
you love that though? It's like you get to see your own like evolution and growth through your music, right?
yeah, and it's super awesome. Now, I do find myself like going back and like listening to things that I like came up with a while ago and being like, "Oh, that's fire." Like that's good.
That's awesome. I mean, I was expecting you to say, "Oh, I look back and it's cringe," but you said it's fire. So you're like, go past Tori, like.
No, absolutely. I feel like I've always been in a like I started music pretty, I guess, late in the game if you want to like, say it like that. You have people who start music at 10, 11 years old. I started in my 20s. So I wouldn't say much has changed, but like, I don't know. I just think that I'm more solidified as a human being. So I'm not going to look back at things that I wrote 2 years ago and be like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Um,
That's true. That's true. It's not like you're looking back at fan fiction you wrote when you were 10 or
right.
whatever.
Oh my God, embarrassing. Not going to pretend like I don't still write fan fiction, but whatever.
No, I mean, obviously. Inspiration's got to come from somewhere. Life, fan fiction, whatever.
Absolutely.
So I guess I probably should have asked this first. And maybe it's clear from your website, your music, but like, what kind of genre would you define your music as if you had to put it into a box?
Yeah, so I think that as things come out, like all of the songs end up being different genres. Like we have a song, I don't know what the name is gonna be yet, but like when I listen to it, I'm like, this is kind of like R&B ish, I guess.
Ooh, okay.
And then, but
That's
not
exciting.
quite as groovy. Um, and then a song that I was recording some vocals for last night, I would call that more like a, I don't know, maybe I'm getting the genre wrong, but like post hardcore. A band that I am very inspired by is called Citizen.
Okay.
And they were kind of in that like pop punk scene and then kind of drifted away from that. And then they get a little bit more uh, like twinkly, shoegazy emo, like that kind of stuff.
Got
Um,
it. I love that description.
yeah.
Just like for my own interest, maybe for people listening to this interest, what's like a song by them that you like or like, you pull inspiration from?
I listen to this song possibly daily, but the song is called How Does It Feel?
How does it feel?
Yeah, it's from the Youth album, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check
That's a
that
song
out.
I listen to daily. And another band that I'm super inspired by is called it's called Movements.
Cool. What's their deal?
I don't really know how to put them in a genre. Like it's definitely not just rock.
Hmm.
I wouldn't call it. I don't know. But it's in the same vein as like, it can get a little heavy. There's kind of like gravelly vocals and stuff in there. Um, Definitely very music forward. It's like a little bit heavier than alt rock, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said about music forward. So when you say that, you mean like more of a focus on like melodic vocals, or are you talking more about the instruments?
So definitely the instruments. So I think a lot of the stuff that I wrote, and that's an evolution that I've seen from how I've been writing music from when I started writing music to now, is I
Hmm.
used to write lyrics first, and I've found that it is absolutely it not impossible, but it's so hard to write around lyrics and melody first. Like it's to me, I found it to be easier, if I sit down in Logic Pro X and like sit down with my keyboard and like key out some chords and then put a drum track to it. Like that's way easier for me to write to as opposed to like, okay, here's the lyrics of the melody. Let me try to write a chord progression and a drum. I can't, it's really hard to match it. Um,
That's
so
really
that's like
interesting.
a progression that I've found. And so when I say music forward, it's just like the music is more telling of the story and the lyrics are just kind of like uh they're they're
They're
icing on
secondary.
top. Yeah. Like they're not
Gotcha.
secondary, they're definitely like a crucial part of the song.
Hmm.
But you would still have the story if you didn't have the lyrics.
Gotcha. Okay. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So which of your songs do you think like tells the strongest story of the ones that you've have the demos out for so far?
Definitely the one that's tied that the title is Untitled 03 right now.
Hmm.
That's the one where like, I shared the vocals with you last night. Like that's the one where
Really good stuff, everyone. Cool
yeah.
stuff coming your way. Really great vocals. I had that song stuck in my head this morning, honestly.
Oh, that's all I ask for. Like that's all I want. But that like listening to that instrumental because I wrote it first and I was just kind of like, you know what, I'll write the lyrics whenever they come to me. Um, and one night I just like sat down and listened to it, and like the lyrics literally just like piled into my head all at once. Um, so I would say that's the song that like it the story. I think the story is told in the instrumental, and you would have it with or without the lyrics.
That's cool to see like everything come together like that. And it seems like a really good feeling when it's just like, oh well, here's the lyrics. They're just in my head and they just happen and
Oh,
it works
so
out.
fantastic. Like I was sending it over to some other bandmates and he was like, "Oh, these are good. Like, what did
Oh,
you
this
write
is
these?"
good. What?
Right. And I was like, I literally wrote them just now. Like there was no like uh sometimes you'll write lyrics that you have to go through like okay, this line is cringy, let me nix that.
None of that. None of that.
It just all like came out and it was fantastic.
That's awesome, man. So I know you said that you've like been building your music from the ground up, like you do the chord progression first, then you do the drums. So
Mhm.
is like all of the instrumentation written by you? I know you have other band members too. Like, how are they contributing to this process too?
Now, at the moment, like all the stuff that we've released has been written by me. But, obviously we have other music that um, we have a band member who actually left us, sad face.
Oh
But
no.
he wrote a progression, um, and then I wrote the lyrics to that song. Now, I will say that's one of the more, maybe I'll release that song eventually, but it needs a little bit work. I think that's one of the songs where I'm like, that's a little
Not
cringe.
Not feel
Like
okay, not feeling it as much.
and it's only cringy because I'm just like, the like melody is contrived and like
Mm,
obvious. That's some stuff that I don't like. Like I have, well, the song Deliverance. That one
mhm.
has a little bit of dissonance in it, and it wasn't. I didn't like. Let me look at music theory and make it dissonant on purpose. Like no, I was just kind of like, you know what, this sounds good to me. And I think that a lot of rock and punk writers, like, I don't like to get rid of theory completely, but I do like focus more on how I feel as opposed to what actually is the right thing to do musically.
I mean, honestly, I think that's the right approach because, you can stick with the formula, you can stick with the chord progression, but like if you're saying like I don't know. I feel like a lot of songs, the sound of the song doesn't line up with the lyrics lately.
Yeah,
Just from my
absolutely.
perspective, it's like, okay, you're saying you feel like confident and powerful, but your singing is like weak and doesn't get that like rasp and that like growth
Right.
in it. And so I think that's cool that you're trying to like reinforce that in your music. Um,
Yeah,
I think that definitely just makes a song more powerful when it's
for
written
sure.
that way.
But to actually answer your question,
What
um,
was my question? I'm the interviewer. I forgot.
right? No, you asked like how is the other band members like contributing?
Right, right, right. Yep.
Um, Now basically how it's going is I'm like, here's an almost finished thing. But the thing about it is, as much as I want to play guitar, I don't play guitar. So when I write a chord progression, sometimes I'm like listening to it back. I'm like, this is a cool song, but it needs more like movement in the guitar. It needs more like personality in the drums because where I can go into Logic or GarageBand and be like, okay, I want five tom hits in this measure. I can kind of make those distinctions, but like, when Dewey does drums, he has his own personality that he brings to it. Um, and when Mike plays guitar or bass, he has, you know, his own inspirations that come in as well. So when I write things, I write it knowing like, hey, this is just the like very basic foundation. It's going to turn into something totally different um, once we actually start recording.
Well, and that's the beauty of a band, right? I mean, it's all
Right.
of you guys coming together.
Absolutely. We're banding together. So
Oh my gosh, great.
gross I said it. But yeah, I mean, I anticipate that people will, once we really find our sound and like kind of get down like a formula, kind of like a Linkin Park kind of, they use the same types of sounds, up until uh Thousand Suns or Hunting Party.
And
Kind of like
you're a big Linkin Park fan,
oh
right?
my god, I couldn't be a bigger Linkin Park fan. However, I will say that One More Light did lose me. It really did. There's
what
there's a couple.
what year was that? Sorry, I'm not as in it as you are.
One More Light, was it 2017?
Oh, okay.
2018? Like
I think I
those.
hopped off at like uh I don't know. You sent me some songs. You're always sharing Linkin Park songs with me as they came out.
Right, always. And not that I need to plug in, but Mike Shinoda's coming out with an instrumental album, which I couldn't be more excited about.
That's awesome, dude. I forgot that we like saw him live. I
Oh, that was so fire. That was so fire.
He was really cool live.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm excited for his instrumental thing too. I didn't know about that.
definitely. I
Cool
am super
beans.
bummed that like apparently he had come out with like uh I don't know what to call it, but basically like he sent out a track to people and people sang to it and then he like picked a couple people to like officially be on the track.
Ooh.
I had no idea that existed, so like I didn't get a chance to like throw my hat in the ring.
Well, you would have been on there if you did.
I mean, that's my only dream is to do a song with Mike Shinoda.
Oh my
Once I do a
gosh.
song with Mike Shinoda, I can hang it up. Like I don't need to do anything else.
Just like wipe off the dirt. Bye, Mike. Bye, Dewey. I'm out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and I want to do the whole thing. I want to do like a rap verse and I want to do vocals on it. Like I want to do both.
Love that.
Just manifesting right now. Don't mind me.
That would be awesome. So that's the pinnacle of Ashdawn's achievement there.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
All right. Well, you're working your way there with this first album, EP, demo thing coming out.
Whatever it's gonna be, we'll see, man.
Whatever it is you're making it, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So like with the music overall, I kind of like already asked you, you know, you said it's coming from different parts of your life and like how you've grown as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there like an overall like feeling or mood or a message from the songs that you've written?
Hmm.
I know that's a hard one.
Yeah. As the lyrics are coming out now, at least for the most recent stuff, obviously it has a lot to do with the current state of society because it's one of those things that you just can't ignore. But you know, it's always one of my goals to tell my story, but also in a way that makes people be able to like relate to it,
Of
you
course,
know.
yeah.
And but I also don't want to do it in a way that like I'm gonna write this song because I know that people are gonna relate to it. It's got to be the other way around. It's like here's a feeling that I feel. Let me kind of flesh that out, journal that out, um, and then what I like to do in my writing is I kind of put a
Mm-hmm.
couple of layers of metaphor in there where I'm telling you a story from my life, but in such a vague way that you can apply whatever you want to. um,
So, do you think we'll ever get the full story of what some of these songs are about? Or are you gonna make it remain an enigma throughout its whole life?
Man, to be honest, there's a couple of songs that like I would never feel comfortable telling the story about them.
I gotcha.
Um, just because now we do have a couple of fans, and they are becoming close friends, or already were close friends. But as we get bigger, as I anticipate we will, um, I just don't want all that out there, you know.
No, that makes complete
um,
sense. Um, and I think that, you know, if you're telling something that's happened in your life and you're expressing your own emotions, like obviously that's going to resonate with people because people will have experienced something similar.
Absolutely, like the human experience is like it's so
Yeah, man.
it
Snap,
just is
snap,
what it
snap.
is, man. Just the
Oh,
human
it is what it
experience
is.
is what it is. Um, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things that like even when somebody has a life who looks completely different than yours, um, you can still like relate on some type of level. Like, and I hate to bring it here, but like, look at memes, dude. Like, can you imagine somebody just like types out a sentence and like millions of people relate? That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just like a little derailment here. Like, memes have really brought people together in a strange way because we're like, wait, everyone put the spoon under the faucet and it did the thing?
Right, right.
I thought it was just me doing that. Like, thought it was cool.
Right. No, seriously. And like it also, and I'm just gonna go ahead and bring it here because the reality is I'm
Bring
a
it.
black woman and I'm it is gonna be what it is. But like me being black but also Hispanic, it
Hmm.
kind of puts it growing up, it put me in a place where just like I never felt Hispanic enough for that. And I know so many people who are mixed culturally or mixed racially feel this. Like you're not black enough for the black kids, and you're not Hispanic enough for the Hispanic kids.
Hmm.
But like in seeing memes that like I can literally relate to black memes, and I can relate to Hispanic memes, and it also honestly like helps me uh solidify myself, like who I am, which is
Yeah,
crazy. Um but yeah, I
that's
mean, just
awesome.
knowing that like my experience aligned with, you know, both of those things makes me feel like, oh, I can be both and that's okay, you know?
Yeah. Um, growing up, like, how do I put this? You are a very special person. That sounds like an insult, but it's not. I
Okay.
mean, it's not. The way I said that sounded like it. No, hold on. Let me start over. You're like super talented, super unique person. You're completely your own individual personality, doing your own thing. Obviously, you're out there making a band, making a company. You're doing what Tori wants to do.
Yeah.
Um, growing up with like this kind of feeling of not being black enough, not being Hispanic enough, not being whatever enough, do you think that led to you to develop your own like really strong personality?
I mean, yeah, honestly. But I mean, also in that, I think I also have to attribute like the way I was raised, you know, outside of race and culture. Like, I've always been like, hey, mom, dad, I want to do this. And they're like, okay, do it. Just like be really good at it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
You know,
Guess I'll
like,
do it.
right. And it's like, well, if you're not putting effort into it, I'm also not going to put any effort into it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I think like being raised with such an like sense of individualism kind of let me really feel like I can literally do whatever I want if I just like decide to do it and like do it to a uh, you know, reasonable capability, right? Like if I
Hmm.
decide that I want to sing and I want to put some time to it, if my parents see that I'm putting time to it, they're like, "Great, this is awesome. You're a singer. This is great."
You're a singer now. You did it. You're doing it.
You know,
I mean, honestly, just like as someone that's been your friend and gotten to know you, like you have inspired me with that trait of yours throughout everything you do. I mean, in college, you wanted to start a voice acting club, and you did.
I started a voice acting club. Did it last? Well, you know what? Let me take that back because I was going to say it didn't last. I've been contacted a couple of times by like the current GMV voice acting club.
Yep.
Um, and I'm like, y'all, I know I didn't set y'all up for this for success because like I ended up having my own things going on. But I'm so glad this is still happening. Like this is awesome.
Me too. Yeah, I was surprised when I googled it. I was like, "Wait, there's a page? Oh, oh,
Yeah.
it's happening still." So,
Right. That's so awesome.
I'm just excited for your music and like, this interviewing out and like your blog and everything that's happening. I'm excited for you to share that energy with the world because I think more people need to realize that like the people that succeed are just the ones that do it.
Oh my God. And that's what I wrote. I wrote a blog post about that. Like
Yep, I saw that and I was just
you
like,
saw that.
I was just sitting here like, yup, yup, like.
No, no, seriously, because you know, people and like I said, I never want it to feel like I'm looking at myself like more important than somebody else. Because like if they tell me, hey, you're so good at this thing, and I might be like, okay. Like it's not because I don't like that I'm getting the praise. It's just like don't give me more praise than I deserve, right? It's just like
Yeah,
it's because I put the time to it that I'm good at it, not because like I
yep.
was just given like nobody is born with the ability to just like, you know, belt a B flat 5 circa Ariana Grande. Like nobody's born with that.
Well, 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 well. Those babies, they come out screaming.
They come out screaming.
They're hitting those notes.
That is true, but not with the resonance and the tonality.
That's true. You know, I'm just messing,
Absolutely.
but.
But yeah, like
No.
if there's anything that anybody wants to do, all they have to do is do it. Like that's it. That's all you have
Yep.
to do is do it.
Nike.
It's crazy.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yep. I mean, just to like riff on that a bit, like I've had so many people say like, "Oh, Savannah, you're so brave that you like went and lived in Japan." And here I am just like, "Oh man, like that was just me like falling down a hill the whole time. Everyone thought I was like killing it over there, but like I don't know, anyone can do that." Like same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like you can do it too.
just decide.
Like yeah, it takes effort. Like oh man, that application process was like so hard. And like you know, both Sean and I, both me and my husband applied for it. He's the one that got in, but like you know, you just gotta just go for it. So
Yeah.
love that. Love this whole message happening here.
I mean, it's so important, especially for people in the current scene, and they're looking at uh, your Billie Eilishes and your like any musician who seemingly has come out of nowhere. Like, there's a couple things you have to remember. With Billie Eilish in particular, her family was already in the industry.
Yep.
So that's why it seems like she came up out of nowhere.
Well, because isn't her brother like a music producer?
Her brother is a music producer, but all producer,
Producer.
but also her like mom and dad are like just straight up in Hollywood, like director.
Gotcha.
So
and I mean, like that's like not to discredit her either.
No, she's extremely talented. I love her music. In fact, I'm probably coming out with her cover of one of her songs pretty soon.
Ooh, that's exciting.
But don't beat yourself up because you're not there after putting in a year's worth of work. Like, yeah, Billie Eilish seemingly came up out of nowhere, but she's also been at this since she was a kid. Like her first single came out when she was 13 years old. That was 5 years ago. That's a long time, dude. That's half a decade.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like you have to put in the effort. But you're also not like you're also capable of putting in the effort.
Yep.
You might not win 5 Grammys on your first, album, but, also set goals for yourself that like you could actually achieve by putting, and I'm just going to get into my like business mind, but like let's set up smart action goals, things that are actually achievable and attainable for you.
Isn't SMART an acronym?
It is. And I can't remember off the top of specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time bound.
Ooh, look at you remembering acronyms. Tori is here to succeed. She knows the acronym for SMART, for setting goals. So look out.
Listen, it's so serious because it's just like if we launched the band a couple of months ago, and without the ability to go out and and promote and play shows and all that stuff, we've still built up a little bit of a fan base. We have at least people who enough people who, like, if those people were in a bar, they'd be filling the bar. And that's the type of goal that I'm talking about. Like, don't expect yourself to have 1,000 followers in a week unless you have the most amazing SEO and money to promote your stuff. And money is also a very important thing. But you know, setting reasonable goals for yourself, and don't like, you know, quit too soon. Because I think that's what a
Definitely.
lot of people get into. Like, oh, I've been at this for 2 years and I have 200 followers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's look at some actual actionable things that we can do to, raise those followers up. So what's your goal? You want to get another 100 followers in a year? Awesome. Set those types of things, not I want to win a Grammy in 2 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, buddy, listen.
Or even just like, I mean, some people are just like, I just want to make music, but then they don't kind of like delve into what that means for them. Personally, it's like, that's such a broad thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was watching, and I'm gonna, show my interests here, but I was watching Terrace House earlier, um, and uh, it's the 19 to 2019 to 2020 season, and
Okay.
I think it was Haruka and Shohei talking to one another. And if you know, you know. Anyway, um,
I like
but
vaguely on the surface know. So I don't know any of these people, but I know of Terrace House and the
right.
premise. So
That is such a relaxing show. Like that's just what I need in my life. Just relaxing content.
yep.
Anyway,
Definitely right now.
oh my god, right now, absolutely,
Just all the content. Block out the world.
pretty much, dude. But she was so like this guy Shohei is like an actor, and he also likes to do contract work, and he also likes to write. And she's like, you know, that's great, but also when you're like swimming around like that, it's really hard to like get really good at anything,
Hmm.
you know.
That's definitely something
Sometimes
that I struggle with.
you have to make a decision on what you're going to do and then do it, right? So for me, um that looked like, okay, before I really start getting crazy with this band stuff, I'm gonna do a year of voice lessons,
Yeah.
and after
Just to
that
like
year of voice lessons,
set that
yeah,
foundation for yourself.
absolutely. And I can, I've gotten I've gotten a way better ear as a result. And now that I feel like, I don't think you can ever master singing. I think you can always get better. Now that I feel like I kind of have that on lock, now I can go into something else, right? So you
Yeah.
have to kind of like focus on something, get good at that to a point where you're comfortable, and then you can move into something else. But you can't put the same amount of energy into 15 million things and expect that to work.
That's true. I am definitely still on my journey to figuring out what the thing is.
Yeah. I mean, it can be super hard. And it's like I was talking to the people who are currently in my company and like, listen, I couldn't have done any of this if I didn't have other people.
Oh
Like,
no. The
I,
whole anime friendship thing is real.
it is like you really do get powered up when your friends praise you and help you out and lift you up. Like you really do get like extra power from it.
Mhm.
um and I've always said like I do way better at a group project than I do by myself because like
100 and bajillion% same here.
yeah.
Like for me, I guess we're similar. I just feed off of the energy of other people and
Mm.
like the thrill of just bouncing ideas back and forth with someone else is so much more inspiring than me sitting down by myself and trying to come up with something.
Absolutely. And then like for me, I don't really care if I fail on my own, but I'm
Mhm.
not going to drag other people down.
Yep.
Like if I don't do a piece of homework, I really couldn't care less. And I know that's a horrible thing for me to say, but I don't. But if
I
like,
mean, like, okay, on a side note, just want to say high school and college projects suck. That's not the kind of group
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
No, for sure. But that still applies though. If I had a
Yeah,
high school group, and I'd be more apt to do that than I would to do stuff for myself. But
definitely. I'm just saying
nowadays,
that those groups can suck because you can get stuck with like the most random person that doesn't want to do anything. And
and
like,
me and Mark were talking about this the other day. Like,
hmm,
oh my god, excuse me, I just finished a whole bag of chips.
Utz, sour cream and onion,
Nah, man, Lay's.
sour cream and onion.
I know, yeah, sour cream and onion for sure. I know Utz was our thing in college, but like
Hmm.
these are just a little bit more salty, and I just am a big fan.
Really, you think so? See, I think that Utz are like too powerful, and then sour cream and onion is like the right amount of flavor. Like you can keep eating them.
Mm. Yes, and that's why we used to finish off bags in like minutes.
Yep,
Um,
they're very
but
addictive. Sorry, that
like,
was a complete tangent. I don't know what
it's
you were
fine.
saying now.
No, I was saying that like uh people. Oh shoot, it's like on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, you're talking about Mark, and you were talking about group projects. Something related to group projects.
Oh my god, something related
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
to group. No, it. If I can't remember, it wasn't important enough. So that's where we're at.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share about your band stuff coming out? Shout out to anyone.
Shout out to anyone. Um, no, I think I just want to shout out like you and like everybody and like my group of friends. We are so freaking creative, and this is so awesome. Like, you doing a podcast and like your husband putting out a video game.
Yeah, what is that?
Like it's so crazy. Like it's great. Like this is exactly what I always wanted out of life. But like,
Me too. And like I just feel like everything's just happening at once for some reason. And I mean like, yes, we've all been trapped inside, so that's probably part of it.
right.
Even outside of that, it's just like, oh God, so many things happening at once. In a
Yeah.
good way and a bad way, but like mostly a good way.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some bad points. But that's just life, man. Like, and it's never to downplay anything that's going on.
No.
Um, life is never going to be perfect, you
Nope. There's
know.
always something terrible happening in the world, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then
Um
all you can do is, you know, just freaking gambare. Just like do your best, dude. Just you gotta do your best.
well, you heard it from Tori. Get out there and gambare.
you just gotta like um
And check out what's your next song coming out?
next song coming out. I have no idea, to be honest. We do have
Okay.
a couple in the works. We'll, see what the next thing is gonna be. Hopefully you can look forward to it in a couple of months, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Who knows? We'll see.
Do, do, do,
But you and I do have
do,
stuff coming
do,
out too.
do, do.
That is a mystery.
Thank you. Yes, it's a mystery. It's a mystery song.
But you and I are gonna be coming out with a let's play of Persona 4.
P4G.
So excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I am almost done with the animations.
Man, I'm not sweating it. It'll come out when it's meant to come out.
Oh, I'm sweating it because I'm just like, I want this to exist. I need it to
Oh,
be out in the world.
it'll be out. I can't wait to post it on Steam. That's gonna be a moment.
Eee,
Oh,
exciting.
it'll be so great. Um, but yeah, other than that, like I'm just glad we're like here and we're just doing things. Cause I know it feels like everything in life was just kind of building up to this, right? Like,
Hmm.
we met in college and like we did some stuff, but like it kind of fizzled out. And then,
We were
I,
busy. We were doing classes. Like, oh, that is hard. classes and work and like trying to be creative at the same time. Like, props to people who make that work, but my life is a lot less stressful now that I have a job. And it's like, I just do one thing 9 to 5, and then like I have more brain power afterwards.
Absolutely. I think that's the main thing. And I beat myself up about that all the time because it feels like I could have been doing this for such, so much longer and I would be wherever I would be had I done it, had I started earlier, right?
Yeah.
But then I think about, I was in college and then I like worked as a manager at a retail store. And if that doesn't take all of your energy, I don't know what does. Um,
Mm-mm.
and like, I remember, you know, being in the retail store and kind of like looking around and being like, man, this ain't it. Like, this
Yeah.
is not it, chief. Like, I always do whatever I'm doing to the best of my ability, but I can also like acknowledge like if I don't like something, you'll slowly see, you'll see 110, you'll see 100, you'll see 95. And then I'm out, and I'll peace out. Because if I can't put all my energy into something anymore, I'm just no longer interested.
Well, and the thing with retail is no matter how much you put in, you're not getting any reflection, any semblance of the effort that you put into it.
Never, absolutely
You're just
never.
the warm body that does things like
Yeah, and even when we got bonus once, and it was like, yeah, this is great. I got $20 for selling hundreds of thousands of dollars.
yeah, like what? Wait, what?
Is that it?
Yep.
Like, and
I
that's
mean,
why we're, starting companies and, you know, I just don't want to hand somebody else the like fruit of my labor anymore.
yeah, you don't want to hand them your life force.
But literally, that's what it is. Like actual blood, sweat, and tears.
Hmm.
So I just can't reconcile with doing that much longer.
Mm-mm. No.
Obviously we all need jobs to like make ends meet, but like once everything we're doing uh makes it out there and people listen, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be so great.
You're gonna love it. The
You're
people,
you're gonna love it.
the people out there.
Whoever's listening.
So if we could like package like all of these morals and things that we've talked about in this wonderful interview, how are we gonna loop that all up? How are we gonna tie off this interview with a nice little bow at the end?
Nice little bow at the end.
Gambate.
For sure. Yeah, basically Gambate, Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Um and just like get excited for what's to come, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just in general. Even for like you in your own life. Like, and I hate to say it, but it is true. Life is what you make it. You just gotta. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
My principal used to always say on the morning announcement, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.
It is like it really is.
We'll leave you with that.
And I regret leaving you with that, but we're just gonna let it rock. It's gonna be okay.
There was a lot of context. We didn't just throw a quote at you. Go back and listen to the podcast and you will find it. It's a good quote.
Yeah, it's
Podcast, interview, whatever this is. I don't
whatever.
know.
It doesn't even matter. It's fine. It's fine.
You want to plug your social media?
Oh shoot. People always ask me to do this, and I'm always just like, I don't know what to say. Um,
Just be like, check out my Instagram at blah 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 and follow me on Twitter, blah blah. Look out for my new release on my website. Blah, blah.
okay. Um, Oh God.
Oh no.
No. Follow us on Facebook at Ashdawn Band. Follow us on Instagram at Ashdawn Band. There's also an Instagram called Ashdawn Music. That's us too. Whatever. Um, we're on YouTube. Just Google it. Just not Google, but just search Ashdawn. And then
Mm.
our website is ashdawnband.com, and check out weekly blog posts on there. And you'll also be the first to know about whatever we're coming out with.
Stay in the know. Stay blessed. Make it a great day or not.
Oh,
The
stay
choice is
blessed
yours.
with a T.
Blessed.
Stay blessed, period.
Bye, y'all. Go check out Tori's awesome new stuff coming out by Ashdawn.
Bye.
Bye. Hold on. I'm gonna stop it now.
Okay.